It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, if you look at the gigantic Sharp Interactive board, you'll see a couple of folks from Toshiba. Toshiba kicked off a pretty cool product enabling dealers and Toshiba Direct themselves to be able to manage their print assets. Of course, when I saw this, I'm like, man, this thing could do a whole lot more. It could manage a whole lot of different assets along with print. So I wanted to bring Scott and Matt on and talk about this because I think it's an interesting product. And guys, why don't you go ahead and do a quick introduction of yourself, and then I'm going to get into some questions for you because I'm hearing that this this eTAG thing has really been probably one of the biggest attractions that dealers had to Toshiba in a long time. I've heard you guys gotten a lot of phone calls from the dealers after you press release one out, so it's exciting stuff. So we'll start with you, Matt, and then we'll move over to Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. I appreciate that. Yeah, so my name is Matt Bull, and I'm the Director of Technical Program Services for Toshiba. And Ray's absolutely spot on. We've had so much interest from the dealer community here and interest in eTAG. Phone calls since we launched it, it's been fantastic. But I look after several products at Toshiba, and eTAG's one of them.
Scott?
Ray, thanks for having us on. I'm Scott Robinson. I'm the VP of Managed Print Services for Toshiba, and we're excited to be able to share a little bit more around eTAG. It's been a terrific product for us as we've done our testing internally, but I think it's going to be an even more terrific product for both our dealers as well as for our clients.
Well, here, I got a question for you, and it's just me because I'm the end of the day with Ray. But so we have this fantastic software around, managed print. I've been kind of thinking for a while that managed print has kind of hit its plateau. So is this a software that came too late, or do you really see some legs in this? Or is it what I think behind the scenes, an avenue where you can be able to manage a whole lot more assets, especially your retail stuff, because I really want you to bring the retail and the print together. But, is it a little bit great stuff too late, or how's it working for Toshiba Direct themselves? Because you're a great measurement of that. I know you guys have a massive managed print fleet. How's that going?
Well, we frequently get asked by the CIOs we work with for some of the larger enterprise accounts to try to help them. They have huge fleets. They don't know where the devices are, and they certainly don't have any way to keep track of them as they keep moving around. So for us, we've got hundreds of thousands of A4 devices in addition to our A3 devices out there in the fleet. And for us, it's a terrific way for us to be able to utilize the tracking mechanism, not just for our products, but delivering it back into the CIOs for their fleets. And as we got challenged by a couple of CIOs, potentially use it for other assets that they have to keep track of as well. And that's been kind of an exciting part. It's not the original reason we created it, but it's turned out to be a pretty exciting part of this.
Well, the evolution of our industry, the dealers are doing more and more things, to compensate print, the decline in print. But tell us about, so why do I need this if I have like a DCA tool? So I want you to, clarify, because I don't think this is a print management tool. I think this is a print asset management tool. So there's a difference in that. And then, what was the reason that you all developed it? I don't know if, Matthew, you want to answer that or if that goes to Scott.
Well, Matt, if you want me to, I'll take this one because as the technical questions come, I'm going to be more than happy for you to take those, okay? But no, I think what's ended up happening is while you've got a DCA out there, it's going to end up identifying itself off the IP address, and that's terrific. It'll tell you where the IP address, where it's registered at. Won't tell you where necessarily the device is. And I think with the A3 products that we've all done and historically in this industry, they don't just get up and walk away. They have to be lifted by our people to be able to be moved. A4 device is completely different. They move all the time, hard to keep track of. And if you don't have some mechanism in addition to a DCA, you really don't know where it's located. So if they need supplies, if they need service, trying to keep track of it can be a real nightmare for the CIOs.
And then when the dealer sets up, or Toshiba Direct sets up an account, they could print off this QR code, if you will, or this asset management application and it's put it right on the machine. Is that correct? You guys can print it from the cloud?
Yeah, Matt, you want to take this one?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So it's a quick drag and drop onto the eTAG application for us or for the dealer, and that'll deploy an eTAG out to the customer, a set of instructions out to each one of the individual printers. And we use a special method for doing that, one that's actually fairly unique. It avoids all of the print drivers and mess that you have to go through, particularly on, with the enhanced security settings that you have on printers today. And that tag plus that instruction page will be printed out on that printer, encouraging the user to register that device, tell us the location, using the eTAG application, and then placing the tag on the actual device.
So obviously, if you can print to an HP printer, because that would be a big population of A4 desktop printing.
Oh yeah.
Can you print to a, A3 that's not a Toshiba? Could you print the tag there?
Absolutely, and it's a great question. Yeah, technically we had that challenge, right? A lot of Scott's fleet, the direct fleet, in fact, almost. I think, what did we cross? Are we the same size or now as our MFP fleet, Scott?
A little bit larger now, just crossed the line.
Yep. So we have, with that, and a lot of them being HP, we have to deal with customers that have not just Toshiba devices, but a wide variety of devices, and so we had to manufacture the application around that for Scott, people who own their fleet, and we want to bring them on quickly using that eTAG app.
So theoretically, if I was a dealer and I wanted to manage a fleet of print equipment that wasn't even under my contract, if you will, so maybe I have a hospital and I'm a Toshiba dealer, but maybe Konicka's in there as well, or Canon, or one of our other friends, I could literally put a asset QR code, if you will, and print it right to all those devices as well and manage the whole fleet.
Yeah.
If the customer let me. I mean, the customer's got to let me do it, obviously.
Customer has to let you, and normally what we find is that there's a pre-email that gets sent out to everyone, so there's no surprises, right? And the end user is then ready for that job to appear on their device. Doesn't matter whether multiple people try to register the device. All of that's combined into one administration tool, and then the tags. Obviously, the end user can place the tag on the device. And what that does is it maximizes this really, really thin set of resources today, right? And both in IT and pretty much everywhere at the customer, where a really labor-intensive walkthrough would be really dramatic. The other area I think that it's really been very well utilized is where you have these remote locations.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't have an IT person to walk through. People don't want to fly people places, and so therefore you can just shoot that eTAG directly to the device, and the person can register it and be online, really quickly.
I think you built something that's really it could help in the consolidation. If I'm a dealer and I sell multiple lines, and let's say I sell Toshiba and maybe I sell, Ricoh or Konica Minolta, but let's say I have an account where I'm, managing and servicing all the Toshiba equipment, but I have the ability to service the competitive equipment that's in there. You just gave me a really good resource to grab all of those assets, put them all on one platform, and tell the customer we'll take over the competitor equipment too. So instead of doing a buyout, I can wait for that lease to end and then keep the money. I mean, this is an awesome product, and I think that, the ability to be able to manage assets across the spectrum, all brands, is pretty interesting. Can you connect this to any DCA tool or any, we got eAutomate as the largest ERP in our industry. So do you guys, will it communicate with those things?
Yeah, I think we will, right, Scott? The future is to directly talk to eAutomate. We've had dealers who are very interested in that. Being the organization that we are, we want to keep all that information private, so we're just working through the
Sure.
privacy concerns around that. But they've expressed a keen interest not only on their contracted machines and field side, but also how do we get people to communicate with us on the service and supply side.
Well, I just see so much capability, especially with AI. I mean, as you tag all these assets and you be able to really get some pretty deep information. I mean, we're sending toner to major enterprise accounts. It ends up on a shelf. You have no idea where the hell it's going or what machine it's going in. So this could give a lot more accountability from that aspect for sure. I mean, it's easy to know that you shipped the customer toner, but you have no idea where the hell it went when it got there. So, will the end users? Do you see the end users actually using this technology, or are they still doing the old way where they're calling you up and they're like, "Oh hell, you could have just scanned the QR code"? What's going on with that?
The end users are using it heavily, as a matter of fact. And some of the additions that we're going to be bringing to it include the tracking information. So when they do order a supply, it's going to be able to ship them the tracking information, provide that right back. Therefore, they know to look for the shipment when it comes in. And we're hoping that that's going to further cut down on the number of times that they end up on the shelf or they end up on somebody else's shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So we're hoping to get the toner to the right place, to the right people at the right time with this.
Well, the more data you have, because AI is just about data, the more data you have and the better the data is, one day AI will look at that data and say, holy crap, Toshiba, did you know we could do this? And you're going to say, wow, that's cool. This is great stuff. I mean, I know the press release came out about a week ago or so, and a couple weeks ago maybe, and, it's great that the dealers are already engaging with you guys. You have some great software technologies. So maybe you could tell me, I've reached out to Larry a couple of times. He's been secret about it, so maybe I'll catch you guys off guard. So when are we going to get the retail and the print stuff mixed together so we can use this asset management in the retail space? They did in Japan. Are they going to do it here in the U.S.? You guys can't answer that.
Our pay grade, I'm not sure. Yeah, great question.
I had to ask. I think it's coming. Keep up the great work. Is there anything you guys want to add before we end this? We'll start with Scott.
I would just tell you we're looking forward to being able to support our dealers. A lot of the dealers that we've had the blessing to be able to have an opportunity to start working with here recently been introduced to a lot of the different things that we bring. Mm-hmm. Again, eTAG is part of our entire Elevate Sky umbrella. So there's a tremendous amount of tools that we can bring to the dealer for a very inexpensive overload on their costs. So it's giving a lot of advantages that you'd only normally be able to get from an OEM transfer down to the dealer, and we're looking forward to continuing to add more.
No, it's great stuff, and I mean, the more capabilities we have in the cloud, most experiences are determined in the intersection between the digital and physical world. I truly believe that. And at the end of the day, I think Toshiba does a great job in that intersection. Matt, is there anything you want to add before we end?
I would just say that our end users have really appreciated it. They like the fact that they can get an asset online really, really quickly, and then they can start using it. Most notably, especially like you said, Ray, when you've got a competitor who's dropping the contract really quickly and they need a replacement as fast as they can. Mm-hmm. So being able to deploy tags out to their printers rapidly, allowing them to not have that discontinuation of service has been fantastic for them. So the reaction from the end user has been superb so far.
Well, I think you got something really powerful for any dealer that wants to become a manager of print assets that they necessarily didn't sell. And we're going to have to get creative as we go down the road and as the industry consolidates. So congratulations, guys, and I'll look forward. I think you're going to do a webinar pretty soon on a demo on this. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We sure will be.
Okay. Well, because everybody watching me knows this, status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck there, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.